All right, so for those of you who are just joining us, this is the Power Up session. It's a special format where each of the presenters are only given 5 minutes and 20 slides to kind of get their story or their point across. Remember, this is a competition between each of the speakers as well, and you can actually tweet the person's Twitter handle, which you all should have received a piece of paper with everyone's information on it. When you entered, you'll notice that that also includes everyone's Twitter handle. So if you like Patrick's session, please make sure that you tweet at Clue Points.
Come on, let's hear it for Patrick.
All right, so so we've got our next presenter that I have the pleasure of introducing. Eric Peacock is the co-founder and CEO of My Health Teams. My Health Teams believe that if you're diagnosed with a chronic condition or disease, it should be easy to find the people around you. And they have also launched My Autism Team, a social network for parents of kids with autism that reaches out to over 50,000 parents across North America today. Eric is a graduate of the Stanford Business School and Harvard College. He lives in San Carlos, California with his wife and 2 children and is a hopeless Red Sox fan. Don't hold that against him. So, and his 3 fun facts are: he never took a biology class in college. It was reading Matt Ridley's book Genome in 2003 that got him fascinated in genetics, and made him take a career detour, leave the internet world, and join a genetics company. He had no gray hair before he had to start raising money from venture capitalists. And having spent the last several weekends attending his kids' soccer tournaments and gymnastic events, he has perfected a recipe for a great summer cocktail called a Hugo, which is a mix of mint, lime juice, elderflower, liqueur, Prosecco, and soda water. And he just wants you all to know that he worked on the cocktails after, not during the games. All right. And so with that, we turn it over to Eric.
Thank you very much. So 3 years ago, I left the comfortable confines of a very secure job to do a venture-backed startup in health that I thought would save the world, and I'm really glad I did. But this is one of those rare opportunities where I get to present both the exhilarating highs of the roller coaster ride of doing a startup, as well as kind of the hair-whitening lows that frequently come. And I want to share as full disclosure as I can, so that if you're thinking about doing this, like, I want you to do it, but I want you to go in eyes wide open, so that if you're going to ride the roller coaster, you can have smiles on the ups and downs, or at least be zen about it. So you got to start with inspiration. For me, it was the family members with chronic conditions. It's people who basically feel like they're reinventing the wheel. They get this chronic condition and they Google like they never Googled before, and they really want to connect with other people like them. This is like my thesis advisor in college once told me: make sure you pick a topic you really, really love, so that those days you really hate going to work, you'll keep doing it. And this inspiration's always there for us. So 3 quick highs from doing this. The first was when we launched our first social network, My Autism Team. This is for parents of kids with autism. Strikes close to my life with a nephew on the spectrum. And just having this idea and seeing it visualized, like the creative process of going through that and coming up with a real product, is by far the biggest high. I love doing it each time we launch a social network. It's incredible. But what's even better is what we call at My Health Teams the "it's working" phase. Like when we launched it, this was June of 2011, almost 3 years ago that we launched it, with 35 parents in San Francisco. And it was so cool to see real parents using My Autism Team. But it was even cooler a year later when it spread across the country and we're at 25,000, and now it's like at 60,000. And each day you get emails from people thanking you for doing this kind of thing. So that was cool. But then the ultimate high was Hoda and Kathy Lee on the Today Show, which was super awesome. Got my hair did with Kathy Lee. I mean, it was pretty fun. So all that's awesome. You're like, conquer the world, here I come. And then reality hits. For us, for me, all 3 of these lows are around finances. Like the fact that our monthly cash burn was $40,000. We had $84,000.23 in the bank account, and that had come directly from my bank account. So that was a little astonishing, and that leads me to raising venture capital, or as I like to call it, 5 months to whiter hair. Fortunately, I live near Sand Hill Road, which is where many of these VCs preside, but it takes an awful lot of visits to get a yes. It took me about 30 meetings to get a yes. Notice that doesn't say 30 no's to get a yes, because the hardest answer to get from a VC is no. In fact, it takes about 100 meetings to get them to say no. Instead, they say things like this: oh, we love what you're doing, this is great, but could you come back a little later? Or, I get that it works in autism, but is it going to work in breast cancer? I mean, they always want you to take all the risk, and they don't want to give you any money until it's a sure bet. So they're not really venture capitalists anymore. I can't stress how stressful this was to me personally and to everyone on my team, wondering, like, my 5 employees, am I going to be able to keep paying them? But not only that, the 50,000 parents of kids with autism we had, like, how are we going to keep this going? I mean, it's just immense stress. I really didn't have any of this gray hair here until I started going through this process. And, it's not that I tried to comfort myself by looking at modern art. This is the 3rd low. This is my annual income. Rising beautifully until I started the company, and then bootstrapped for a while. Then I raised money and I took a little salary, and I raised more money and I took a little salary, but it's nowhere near what it was. Interestingly for me, though, it's been completely not correlated to happiness. The dips there have nothing to do with the wonderful work. It's all about raising money each time I've had to raise money. So if you're going to do this, know that you're going in eyes wide open with the highs and lows, but don't do it alone. Have a great co-founder. Co-founders are key. I have a CEO support group I belong to, and having a supportive family is absolutely critical. We have in my family what we call the portfolio play, which is my wife has a steady job and I'm the risk taker. And realize that you might feel like this guy. This naked guy here, he's like the founder, just dancing out there at this concert, and he is so confident in what he's doing. This is clearly the vision for the world here, right? And then you're like, wow, I'm still dancing by myself. And that's what it feels like for quite some time. And then, oh, God, I got a co-founder. Fabulous. Co-founder comes along, and you're like, no. Do it like this. Yeah, just like that. Perfect. So you got that working for you. And then you guys dance together by yourselves for quite some time. And it goes on and on like this. And you're like, gosh, I hope we get some VC interested in us, somebody to do anything like this. Let me see if I can advance this thing a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how to advance it. If you'll bear with me. So you're dancing for a little bit here, and you're like, okay, I think we got something going. Can we get a VC to help us here? Is anybody going to come along and help us? It's always the ugly ones who come first. Always. And so you get this guy going, and he's wigged out your co-founder so much that they just take off. And you're like, Jesus, just come back and dance with me, won't you? So to make a long story short, you're doing this for quite some time, and if I could click ahead, I would, but look, a couple people came and joined us. And this is a fabulous video, which I recommend everybody watch, because it turned out to be like the single largest, instantaneous crowd dance here that literally had everybody there participating in at the end, just because you weren't afraid to feel so weird. So thank you very much. At my health team, just who you are.
Thank you, Eric. Eric, that was excellent. That reminded me of the TransPerfect party last night that I was at, but I wasn't. My fans that were dancing as part of my group are back in the back there. So